Welcome to Dr. Kit's Moment of Inspiration. Today is February 18, 2020, and I just want to talk for a brief moment about something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is the history of blacks in this country, of the United States. It seemed like the Black History Month grew out of Negro Week back in the 1500s. And in 1976, Black History Month became a part of the reality or the history of this country. But I want to just kind of take a step back in time and say that I think the history of blacks in this country is, when we look at it, is somewhat tainted with a lot of anger, a lot of racism, a lot of hurt perpetrated on blacks by the white settlers at the time. Of course, our forefathers were brought to this country and several islands in the Caribbean and parts of South America. And so while the history of blacks in this country, it is revered to some degree, and it is a very good thing, I want us to consider taking a look at what I call the legacy of blacks. And so we should have a Black Legacy Month. You know, the legacy that we have in this country here dates way back to the motherland, Africa, where our people, they had a whole legacy that they poured out into us, into our forefathers as they were growing up, and it became a part of their skin and bone. It kind of reminded me of the Bible story where God created Adam, and then he took a rib from Adam's side. I'm giving you a short version of this right now. Took a rib from Adam's side, and he created Eve. And when Adam woke up from the anesthesia, put on him by the divine anesthesiologist, the first thing he did was not to ask God, well, who is this? He declared, he says, she is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. So we here in America at this time, we are bone of the bones of our ancestors, and they are bone of our bones. And so our heritage is so important to us, in that it teaches us about what life was like back then, what our belief system was like back then, what our morals were like back then in the motherland. And now that we have come out of the motherland, we have been somewhat diluted. We're no longer eating from the land, from the ground. We're now eating out of cans and out of boxes. And we are barbecuing on grills. We have given up the ground food for pasta and pizza and mac and cheese, all of which then compromises our bodies. So we have all this sickness, leading to heart attacks and strokes and high blood pressure and anxiety and depression and all of those mental health issues that we have. So I would encourage us to shift away from Black History Month to the Black Heritage Month, because our heritage is greater than our history. It predates our history, and should time and life last, it will live on after our history, our individual histories over, after my time, after many a time. There are many people who were born into the history of this country who have died, and yet the history of this country goes on, and the heritage that our forefathers brought out of Africa, still lives on although in a tainted way. So I'm just going to encourage us to take a look at what it means to have a Black Heritage Month as opposed to a Black History Month. It is wider. Heritage is wider. It is longer. It is deeper. It is broader. It is more succinct. It goes to places, is a part of our bones, our thoughts, our feelings, our skin, our color, our eyes, the size of our nose, our lips. It's all of those things. Our heritage. It is so important. And I would just encourage us to never give up on our heritage, no matter what. I just want to thank you for being a part of Dr. Kit's moment of inspiration. Talk with you next time, and just watch out for the next installation. Bye-bye.